Xiaomi to enter U.S. market this year. Amazon and Google at each other again. Alexa's having a problem with her humor. Google's Waymo testing their semis in Atlanta. Uber adding Uber Health. Apple opening employee healthcare clinics. Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 camera notch. Was Hedy Lamarr a genius inventor in addition to being the world's most beautiful woman? And Black Panther 2. Hey folks, Mobile Geezer here with this week's edition of Geezer Bits for Sunday, March 11th, 2018. So this week, there's a number of stories that Xiaomi intends to officially enter the U.S. market by the end of this year or by early 2019. For a lot of us, this is good news, but Xiaomi has been trying to break into the U.S. market for a number of years. This on top of some government warnings against some Chinese phone makers. So don't know how this is going to work out for Xiaomi, but many of us would love to see them firmly in the U.S. market. Next up, it seems that we're back to the Amazon-Google wars. This week, Amazon's retail team informed Google's Nest team that no new Nest products would be sold on Amazon.com. In retaliation, Nest responded it's pulling all its products from Amazon as soon as the current stock has depleted. So once again, they're at each other, and hopefully they'll settle these things between themselves pretty soon. Google and Amazon being two of the techie community's most beloved companies. Next, last week I reported how Amazon was having problems responding to requests in the Northeast and on the West Coast. Well, Amazon got that figured out. But this week, Amazon received a number of reports that Alexa was randomly laughing. I gather they've been getting reports like this for a few months, but all the stories came out this week. A few examples. One customer said she was lying in bed about to fall asleep when her Echo Dot let out a very loud and creepy laugh. She thought to herself, there's a good chance I might get murdered tonight. Another one, I was trying to turn off some lights and they kept turning back on. After the third request, Alexa stopped responding and instead did an evil laugh. The laugh wasn't in the Alexa voice. It sounded like a real person. Another one, I was manually turning the volume down using the buttons on my Echo Dot, and it started laughing like she was being tickled. It was the weirdest thing. So Amazon is aware of the problem, and they are working on it. So far, neither my Amazon Echo or my Echo Dot have started laughing at me, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't scare me in the middle of the night. Next up, Google's Waymo division, that's the division that runs their self-driving trucks, are starting to test deliveries to their logistics hub in Atlanta. They have been already testing them in California and Arizona since last year. Also, Uber announced earlier in the week that its self-driving fleet was making deliveries in Arizona. Some time back, Uber acquired Otto, the self-driving truck company, for $680 million. And there's also a new company called Embark that has also been shipping refrigerators in Southern California and Texas since late last year. Speaking of Uber, in the next story, they're testing a new service called Uber Health, where healthcare providers can order rides for patients to keep appointments. They can do it up to 30 days in advance. They can order via text message, and the patients will receive the information by landline. So it should help with patients being late for appointments and for patients who aren't so well off. So it sounds like a good service remover. Continuing in the healthcare vein, Apple is planning to open a number of clinics for their employees and their families, and they'll also be using it as a perk for hiring. Last week, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, and J.P. Morgan also announced that they will be providing new healthcare services to employees. Of course, healthcare is one of the biggest expenses for both companies and families. So hopefully this trend will help both employees and companies make it a little less costly. Next up, everybody's talking about camera notches, and there seems to be a slew of cameras coming out with the notch. And it seems like in the next couple of months, you'll be seeing them on 5 or 6 different phones. Everybody's saying they're copying Apple. Others are saying manufacturers had the notch in the works before Apple even came up with theirs. But either way, the new Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 camera has been spotted with a notch in the top right-hand corner, at least in renders. So will it have a notch? I don't know, but it seems like having a notch is the new hot thing with the phone manufacturers. A story that I read this week struck me. Probably many of you are too young to know the name Hedy Lamarr, but in the 40s and early 50s, she was considered in Hollywood to be the most beautiful woman in the world. And of course, she had that typical bombshell, let's sell sex with this beautiful woman in all her movies. But turns out, Hedy Lamarr seems to be a genius inventor. She invented something called frequency hopping, which was a forerunner to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and GPS. She also improved traffic light design, which has been adopted by many cities in the country, and she invented a tablet that would dissolve into a soft drink. I gather even though she was the big bombshell name in Hollywood, she didn't like the whole Hollywood scene and tended to keep to herself and turned to inventing, and I gather she was quite brilliant at it. I just thought that was a really interesting story. And finally, Black Panther, being the very, very hot movie that it is and big money maker for Marvel, Black Panther 2 has already been confirmed that it's going to be coming out. So all you Black Panther fans, be ready. I guess probably sometime next year. I haven't seen any dates yet. But Black Panther 2 is already in the works. So that's all I have for this week, folks. As usual, comments are welcome, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.